Hey everybody, it's James Hudson here with the Board Game Spotlight, and today we're looking at Galactic Warlords Battle for Dominion. One thing that you're going to notice right off the bat is this is art by the Miko. So if you're a fan of Miko's art, then you're going to love this like sci-fi kind of take on that. I think the easiest thing for us to do to jump into this is to take a quick look at a player board. So this is going to be one of your major driving factors of the game. You're going to be trying to move your units, because we've got infantry, we've got tanks, and we've got airplanes. They're going to be moving throughout this board, and you're going to be trying to get things into your launch pad so that you can take them from the launch pad onto the world, into the sectors and the different planets that you've got out here. This is going to work like this. So you're going to start, obviously, the game with some on the launch pad ready to go out. But then infantry units, as different things happen during the game, you may send some on a mission, or some might be in the decon phase. And so when it begins your turn and you're in the recovery phase, right here, everything moves up in a certain order. So things go from here to the launch pad first, then from the mission to the decon, or if you had somebody in the medical bay if they got blown up. So now anything that you have here in your launch pad is ready to go out onto the world when you're doing those actions. So, for instance, let's look at the way that would work. So you'd have that recovery where everything moves up, and then that's how you become more available. You have recall if there was some units out there on the board that you wanted to bring back in. You would have that ability. Move ship. So your move ship action is where you're going to be doing all your business from in the different sectors. So initially, in the beginning of the game, you can start on any, and I have this set up for a 4-player game, you can start on any sector on the outside ring that is available that doesn't have a ship. Now, we always uncover and discover these right here down the middle. What happens here is the planets have their own sector, their own chart. And so as we discover more planets, they become worth more. There's also a way they move down, but I'll explain that later. So as we did the initial setup, you see the board, and this is the setup that we have for this game. And so what we know right now is blue is very powerful. If we can gain control there, then we're going to get actual victory points for gaining control of those planets. So let's just say if it was my turn, I might take my dropship and bloop, bloop, get out here onto this one. Now, here's the main driving factor of the game. It's your mercenaries. So we have this deck of mercenaries here, and this mercenary market, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you start the game with 3 in your hand. And so they have amount of units that you can move into the launch pad. And then they also have what planet they're tied to. It has in-game bonus effects. And then they have actions that they give you. So let's pretend I played this fellow here, Nez Aziza. This is going to allow me to move 3 of my infantry directly into my launch pad. So that's nifty. Now I got a big pile of goodies. And now I can deploy, and then I can recon. That's those 2 actions. So there's about 6 different actions in the game that you can take. And based off of those, that's how you're going to want to pick, because each of these have a different set. So that's a deploy without invading, and that's a bombard. That is a deploy where you can invade, and that's another recon. So I'm going to take my first action here, which would be take 3 units. I'm going to take 2 infantry and a tank, and I'm going to send those out to this blue planet. Bloop. So I now control that planet. I would get 1 victory point right there for controlling that planet. Now I'll take my second action, which is recon. So I'm going to take one of my tokens, and I'm going to shoot this out to a different sector that I want to do some recon on. Now I could put it over here as well. It'll allow me to do a jump ship action, but I'm just going to go here. And if you do it on a place that doesn't have the planets discovered, you get to take a peek. So now I know what those are. Now in a later turn, if I come here on my move ship action, I can flip this over and I'll get a free deploy action here, and I'll get to discover those. Because typically your move ship can only go to the adjacent sectors in here. So if you wanted to jump to a different sector, you would use that. Okay, so there's that. Obviously you see these half-made circles on each side of the mercenary. So you lay these out in your command center, and as you play, you are going to want to, if you can, if it makes sense, combo this. And so now I've got this. I get to put a guard on this. And guards do a couple things. They protect your mercenaries, and they also can be used as reinforcements if somebody's attacking somewhere that you have control. So this would give me this opportunity. There's also a super special bonus that you get if you get 2 of those made of the same color. There's a one-time game action where each one of the 4 colors allows you to do a really powerful move that only counts once per game. And those are right here. So I'll let you read about those in the rule book. Pretty neat. So we've got a good setup here going. It would be, I've played my mercenary. This would not be here. And I would have my action phase, which I did those 2 actions. And then I would hire a mercenary. So I'm going to come to the market here and pick something that's going to really work well with what I'm trying to do. So for instance, I might see that if white planets were going to be good, and I also wanted to finish out this half crescent moon circle situation, might get that one. Or you know what, I'm going to say, let's go, no, that guy's not very good. And if you don't have anything that you like, oh, I'll take her. I'll take her because there's a brown planet out there, so she's on the brown planet. Plus, later on, she could make that green circle for me and give me that bombard action. So I would add her to my hand. This would get refilled, and it would be the next player's turn. So it takes about a full turn or so to really get, everybody's getting some units out on the board and establishing some spaces that they're going to be in. That's when combat starts. And that's when the combat in the game is pretty streamlined and straightforward, which is nice for a tactical strategy game like this. So if, let's just say we had a 3v3 situation going right here with red, they drop shipped into my area. I would roll the 3 dice, and they have blanks, hits, and then boosted like invader bomby hits. So let's say I would roll, and I got 1 hit. Not very good. Red would roll, and red got 3 hits. So that would be like I would lose 1, or they would lose 1 because I killed one of theirs, and then they would have wiped out all 3 of mine. Done. Boom. Now red would have the control, and they would get that victory point for controlling that victory. One thing that does happen when you fight on a planet, though, war is very devastating, and it actually moves the track back down as far as the worth of those planets. So that's something you've got to take into effect and into account. The other thing you've got going here is this reputation track. And so these get mixed up, and every time you take these actions during the game, it's going to boost you up the ladder. And this is actually one way that the game can end, is when you get all the way to the end. So if somebody was to use the Subterfuge action, which is one of the 6 or so actions that you can take, let's say I did that, you would be able to move up here, and then you would get the bonus of 1 infantry person or 2 victory points. Then the next time I take an action, if I can take a recon action, then I would jump up here, and then I would get one of these benefits. And now I need to do another recon, and then from there I would need to do a support action twice, and then an assassinate twice, and then you get in, and that can end the game. So it's a fast way to get bonuses, but then also kind of streamline your actions to mix in there. We've got support cards that can also be played during the action phase, and you can only play 1 per round, or 1 per action phase. And these pretty much just give you that bonus. They're all the same actions as that you have on the mercenary cards, but it gives you like 1 more combos. And you might be able to I'm going to play this first because I want to scout here, and then I'm going to really put your combos together. The gameplay is really, really quick for the type of strategy combat type game that it is. One of the things that I think is very interesting is these combos that you're trying to get built together by getting these together, and then also is aligning for the in-game scoring, because in-game scoring works like this. Whoever has the most units on a planet type gets the top end score. So let's say blue is there. If red had the most units on all, we added up all the units that were on all the planets that were discovered. If they had the most, they're going to get that 4 points. It's not who has the most control over the most planets. It's who has the most influence on those planets. So you could have 6 people on 1 planet, and that would be more if somebody had 5 on 1 on each. So something to know. You get points there. And then the other in-game situation for scoring is your mercenary cards times how many planets of that color you control. So for instance, they're worth 2 points each. So if I had 2 green planets that I controlled, this would be a multiplier. So that's 2 points, 4 points. So I would get 4 points. But if I had a second green mercenary that I had played that was not injured, if I can find you one real quick, just pretend this one's green. It's not, but let's pretend that it is. Then it would be 2, 4 times 2, so it would be worth 8 points. So you're going to want to try to, you're going to be trying to align your mercenaries with the different types of planets that you can get control over. And then that's going to be worth a big pile of points at the end of the game. You're also going to be earning points along the reputation track and through combat. It's, you know, if you like military, combat-driven type games with interesting card play and, you know, some really cool in-game type stuff, one of the things I think that's really good about it is that the dice rolling for, obviously, by the way, this is a prototype. That's why you're seeing stuff taped to on the dice. Typically, some of those, like, you know, it feels like a Risk or something could go on forever with all the dice rolling. But this is really, really, it doesn't matter. If you've got 15 units on a planet, you're only going to roll those 3 dice. Now, you might do a couple rounds of that, but it resolves so quickly that it's like, boom, boom, done. Okay, remove yours, remove mine. Okay, I choose to keep going. Do it a few more. Boom, boom, boom. So it goes really quick. The card here goes over your actions, so you'll run through those. You'll get used to those. As you play the game, you'll notice that when it's not your turn, you'll be going ahead and you'll be looking at like the mercenary market, trying to figure out the things that you want to bring in. Or if somebody picks up a card that you really wanted, you can use the Subterfuge action to try to go steal that card from their hand. You got to get lucky enough to draw it, but they only got 3 in their hand, so you got a good chance of that. Or 33% if you're into math. That's pretty much it. You know, the game is exactly what you would. I would say it plays 30 to 40 minutes for 2 players and 60 to 70 minutes for 4 players. So for the taste of getting a big tactical war game with combat, it has a short table time, which is really appealing, I know, to me, and I think it might be appealing to you guys. So if you like these type of games, this one's going to be up in your wheelhouse. This is Galactic Warlords, and it is on Kickstarter now. So go check it out and give it a back. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye.